if you just want to do great work, right? If you just want to be a great actor and do great work and get to work on really cool projects with really interesting creators, like you can do that and you don't have to be in LA. You can come to Atlanta. You can go to Chicago.
Yeah.
You can, New Mexico has a lot of productions now. It's just amazing that you don't have to be in those two coastal cities.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. I'm so glad that you're here. If this is your first time, welcome. Get ready for an awesome conversation to really give you some insight when it comes to specifically the Southeast market, I would say, but I would really say we're gonna jump probably beyond that as well. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're coming back, thanks so much for coming back. And before I jump in, I wanna give a shout out to a couple of YouTube comments. And the reason why I'm shouting out YouTube, if you're not watching us on YouTube, you're just listening, you are missing out on our sister show, Talent Agent Talk with Jason Lockhart, where we dive into a bunch of different booking stories, how the audition went, what they learned on set. Really, really incredible show. So check that out. But I want to shout out Alex Lecca 8529 says, I've been binging through these podcasts. They're so insightful, especially for Southeast actors. I'll give one more to Karen Gross 9591. I love this podcast. So many salient points. No more excuses for me. Going for it. I love that you guys are feeling inspired, and let's get you re-inspired right now with a casting director in the house, Miss Rebecca Carfagna. What's up, Rebecca?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for spending the time.
Of course.
And it sounds like it was perfect timing. You guys are on a little bit of a hiatus on your current show.
Yep. We are casting the second season of Found for NBC, and we're in our mid-season hiatus. So we have 2 weeks off before we go back and finish the last 8 episodes.
Awesome.
Which will take us through November.
Does it change for a casting director, like season 1 to season 2?
You know what's really funny? That as we are talking about this, there have not been many season 2s that I've worked on.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily that it's like a series that just hasn't gone. We've worked on a lot of limited series that have just gone for 1 season. So this is newer territory.
Oh, well, how are you enjoying it then?
I love it. They're such a great team. NK Carroll, who is our showrunner, is incredible. And we've got a really fantastic production staff and line producer, and our co-showrunner, Sine Hoffman. Just wonderful, delightful people to be working with. And we have heard from actors who have been on the show that they are also having a great time. So
awesome.
You really can't ask for more.
No, definitely not. Is there, I know you haven't worked for whatever reason, there hasn't been multiple seasons, but I guess in your experience of watching, like, I feel like if you get past, what is it? If you get past like season 3 or 4, then I feel like it goes to like season 7.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Well, is it still when you get to season 4, that's like syndication? That's like...
Is it 4?
Right? Is it 4 still? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But yeah, I feel like once a series is kind of chugging along, it's like... Just keep going.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, for us, that would be amazing. Like, if that went that long.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're with Megan Lewis and RPM.
Keep the lights on.
Yeah, that's true. But you're partnered with Megan Lewis and RPM Casting. So we'll dive into that relationship a little bit down the line here. But I didn't even know this about you as, we were getting ready for the podcast. All the different places that you've cast and where you started. And so you started at Public Theater in New York. I'd love to, go back to that time in your memory and like, what was something that really maybe got you amped up and excited when you were there and doing that and essentially like committing, like, all right, this is like what I'm doing.
Yeah. The two casting directors who are still at the Public Theater, Jordan Thaler and Heidi Griffiths, are two incredible people, just day to day, amazing humans. They're incredible casting directors as well. And I think that they showed up for me in a way of mentorship that I didn't even realize that I needed or wanted. And I think that that's so special when a mentor shows up in your life. Just, not, hi, I'm going to be your mentor, but it just naturally happened. I knew that working at the Public Theater, that is the pinnacle of American theater, and so many amazing plays and musicals and performers and directors and other theater artists got their starts there, that it was pretty incredible to be right out of college and to be working with them. I was such a sponge during those times, and was just open to listening to them talk about their roles as casting directors in this institution, their roles working with actors. There's so much respect for the art of acting that I gathered from them. They were also really open in talking about plays that I'd gone to go see. Let's have a conversation about what you saw and
You must have been able to
who
see
was
so
in it.
much.
There was, yes, so much. I mean, when I
Gosh.
was in New York, sometimes it would be 7 nights a week that I'd be going and seeing something.
Wow.
But you're out at the theater after work every night. But having those conversations about how that then translates into casting. There's one. The first year that I lived in New York, Sam Mendes brought his last two productions at the Donmar to Brooklyn Academy of Music. They were 12th Night and Uncle Vanya. And I remember after I saw 12th Night, going back to the office the next day, talking about how incredible Simon Russell Beale was as Malvolio, the interpretation of that production and that character. At the very end of this production, Malvolio is such a tyrant throughout that play, but at the very end, everybody's in love and, rejoicing, and he walks off alone. And I remember being so moved by that. And so I remember talking to them about that. There was also, three characters that are the comic relief, Sir Agacheek and Toby Belch, right? They had this very, very funny scene where they were sitting on a couch and it was just sounds of them farting. It was hilarious. I was doubled over. I've never laughed so hard at a Shakespeare production to this day. But I remember coming back to the theater or coming back to the Public Theater, later that day, and talking about those characters, and then finding out that I'm looking at a resume of another actor and I see that Sir Agacheek is on their resume. And it's well, I thought that they were this big serious dramatic actor, but knowing that Sir Agacheek is a comic relief and that actor can do comedy, those were the types of things that I was learning, right? From going to see theater, you then see a character, then you see that on an actor's resume, and now you have a little bit more information about the actor because you know that play and you know that role.
Right.
Just the ways that you talk about the industry. I also did an internship with Jeff Johnson and Vinnie Liff, and they were mostly Broadway casting directors, but cast all those big Cameron Mackintosh, Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals, Phantom, Les Mis, which is Claude Michel Schoenberg, Miss Saigon. They ended up casting the producers. Anyway, so I interned with them when I first moved to New York. And I remember Vinnie Liff walking out into the office one day, and he sat down in front of the intern desk and he said, "This is going to be a very interesting season on Broadway because the hit is going to be at the start of the season. The hit of the season will be, very early on." And I just remember thinking, oh, that's really interesting to assess a Broadway season that way. And then we talked about who are the breakout performers, what shows, didn't do well. And so it just got me in that habit of always like each season kind of like looking at what was happening in the industry, what was happening amongst Broadway and other New York theater. So I was just a sponge. I soaked all of that stuff up
it sounds
and
it.
was happy to let these casting directors who are at the top of their game talk and, teach.
Oh, I didn't see you there. You might be wondering, what the heck is the Virtual Actors Summit? Well, listen up and I'll enlighten you. Picture this, a Zoom session that doesn't suck. I know, it sounds impossible, right? But trust me, this isn't your typical snooze fest where you're stuck watching someone's forehead for hours. We're actors. We know how to make things exciting. The Virtual Actors Summit is a 3-day extravaganza where you'll learn from the best in the biz. Guest instructors, agents, and casting directors. Think of it as a crash course in acting awesomeness, minus the turtlenecks and pretentious monologues. You'll get hands-on training. Actors will get real-time feedback and the chance to actually participate. No more passively listening while you're secretly scrolling on TikTok. We're talking active engagement here, people! Still wondering what the heck this is? It's your ticket to leveling up your acting career. Whether you're in a place trying to snag an agent, get more auditions, trying to book more acting jobs, this summit is your golden ticket to help you get there. And the best part? There's no upcoming union strikes to worry about. So there's no sudden plot twist here. So what the heck is the Virtual Actors Summit? It's your chance to learn some new skills, get re-energized, and not even have to put on pants. Register now, and I'll see you there. I mean, yeah, it sounds like it was incredible. Do you miss like all of the theater?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
I mean, Atlanta has a good theater scene.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
100%.
not in
They've
New
got
York
a great,
City, obviously.
Yeah, it's a little harder to like go see something every single night.
Yeah.
But as long as you're
See something every month, pretty like
absolutely.
2 things a month, probably pretty
Several
easily though.
times. I mean, I make sure to see everything that's at the Alliance. Theatrical Outfit always has really great productions.
Actors, if you're in a show, send your ticket. Rebecca's coming.
Let me know. I'll go see it. We had an actor who we've cast in a recurring role on Found. He was in a production of A Tale of Two Cities at the Alliance recently, and he offered me a ticket, and I was like, well, sure. I was a little apprehensive because I was like, oh my God, this is classical novel. I think I read it in middle school.
Yeah.
This is going to be a slog, right? I couldn't have been more wrong. Within the first 10 minutes, I was immediately like taken into the production. The cast was incredible. It was like, you realize why that story is a classic. I had completely forgotten about like the ending of the switching of characters, and I was enraptured.
Wow.
But the great thing is that there were actors in that production who I didn't know, and next episode we auditioned one of them and they booked it. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It never fails, going to the theater and finding new talent, or finding not just like brand new talent, but new to me talent.
Yeah, I love that story because I feel like you hear it, but I don't know, as the actor, you're like, does that really happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It does. I think also early on those days in New York, what I realized is that you just never know where an idea is going to come from. So you see everything, you read everything, you watch everything that you can. Even when you're not able to, you at least like have an idea of, look at the cast list, who is in that, because you just never know.
You were such a sponge, as you said, when you were in New York. If all these actors here that are watching could kind of like jump on your back or be a fly on the wall, and you were like, this one piece of advice is like something you probably need to hear to help you on your journey from all the different internships and stuff that you did there, what do you think that would be?
Well, we're on your side. I'm your champion, right?
Yeah.
I chose you to come in to read for us because you have potential to fill a need in a whatever we're casting, whatever the director's vision that we're trying to work on. So, like, I am on your side. I'm your biggest cheerleader. And I
Yeah.
want to see you succeed.
So simple, so easy.
So simple. And I feel like, why does that get forgotten so much?
I know. I'll tell actors,
I'm on
like,
your team.
Like, you're not getting pity auditions.
You're not going to meet someone who loves actors more than me. You know?
Yeah. So you started in New York.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're here in Atlanta now,
Yeah.
but you've also done some casting in LA.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those? I mean, these are the three main markets, really,
Yeah.
right? New York, Atlanta, LA. Can you talk about?
The only one I haven't hit is Chicago, I guess.
I don't know if they're
Too
like
cold.
a main. Oh yeah. I mean, although I hear it's
But
beautiful.
I have friends who are casting directors in Chicago, so that's by proxy.
So you can get the 411 a little bit,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
three of
so
those.
could you talk about is there like a big difference that you think maybe actors need to know about the three markets in casting, or it's like at the end of the day you just need to show up and do the best job you can?
Well, I mean, I think that yes, you just need to show up and do the best job. I think that there are kind of different. The cities all bring different energies.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
I think that there's a sense in New York that because it's mostly theater, that the actors that you're seeing are trained, right, and in voice, in breath work, in movement. Some classically trained, if they're doing Shakespeare or Chekhov or Eugene O'Neill or August Wilson or anything else like that. In LA, it's so fast paced. If you think about like sitcoms are every 5 days, right? You've got a new script on Monday and then you're shooting by Friday or whatever it is. And so a lot of that can be you still have to have the training and all of those things. But a lot of it is, what do you immediately bring to this? What is your immediate instinct on this character? And what do you have immediately available to you to portray this role? And for some reason here in Atlanta, even though like we're cycling through a new script every, 8 to 10 days, there's something about the pace here that's a little slower and a little bit more measured and balanced. That's what I've always felt about actors here in Atlanta, that there is a balance to their life that perhaps doesn't exist in New York and Los Angeles. Might be, I mean, I know that Atlanta's getting more and more expensive, but it might be the cost of living in New York and Los Angeles. It also might be that the stakes are a little higher in LA. One day you could be reading for a role and 4 years later you're in syndication and, don't have to worry about paying the bills, for a while. So the stakes are a little higher, I guess, in that situation. But
is that frustrating for you as a casting director?
100%.
Interesting.
Because you're not just managing an actor's expectation of that, which I can manage because when you get into a room with an actor, it's just you and the actor, right? It goes back to, I'm your best friend. I'm there to help you, right? And it's just us working on this piece. But in LA, you have the rest of the industry that are then influencing all of that. You have agents, managers,
So as the
that
casting
can be distracting, I think, to
right
what you're just trying to
and like more
do.
pressure.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting because I'm like, oh, wow, I love to hear that here in the Southeast, it seems like that way. But then I'm like, oh, but does it seem like the actors aren't as serious?
No, not at all. I think that the actors here are just as committed to their craft as actors in New York. But I do think that it brings an interesting dynamic to a performer when it's sort of like, yeah, I work at the Lay's factory, but I also do this.
Yeah.
So it's like you have this down to earth, like groundedness in your day-to-day life, where then you go into this other realm and can play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting because I was going to say, well, here in the Southeast, like you almost don't have a choice. Like there's going to be very few actors that are like going to be able to make a good living off the roles that they're booking. But then I'm like, well, there's a zillion actors out in LA that aren't booking series regulars and have to be a bartender, server, valet, whatever. So I wonder why it's different. Because it's not like the LA actors don't have other jobs.
No, exactly. I just think that, I just think that it goes back to that sort of pressure cooker situation in Hollywood where this could be it. I'm that close to the next like thing that's gonna break me out and I'll be a star. Right. And I feel like that's actually the mindset of maybe not the actor themselves, but like the community surrounding it. So that sounds really negative.
No,
but
I think you have a good point.
Like, that's really, those expectations are really difficult to manage.
Right.
And if you just want to do great work, right? If you just want to be a great actor and do great work and get to work on really cool projects with really interesting creators, like you can do that and you don't have to be in LA. You can come to Atlanta. You can go to Chicago.
Yeah.
You can, New Mexico has a lot of productions now. It's just amazing that you don't have to be in those two coastal cities. So
from your POV of New York and LA, where like that pressure's on a little bit more, and then when you're thinking of a Chicago, New Mexico, Atlanta, you think those are kind of, when I don't mean to say like better market, I'll maybe say like a healthier market.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And from jump here in Atlanta, that's how I felt about it. There's a healthier existence here. There's a balance to life. People have, families, close friends, probably extended family even.
Yeah.
Like within, this region.
Yep.
That it just adds a balance to your craft.
It also, I think, allows, and because you just said like, kind of like extended family, and I just immediately thought about my wife and then her parents, and I'm like, oh yeah, like they're 45 minutes kind of like up the road, and I just kind of I thought like that's not gonna, unless you already had family in California, your family's not going to California.
Absolutely.
Where as opposed to your family, you might be able to all come together somewhere in the Southeast, right? It doesn't mean they got to be in Atlanta. They might be in North Carolina.
You're a day's drive.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not, a 4-hour red eye.
Yeah, I never thought about that as like a really nice positive for building a family and doing that.
Yeah.
So you partnered with Megan Lewis. You guys have been working together since like 17, right?
Yeah, I went to work with her in 2017, and then we partnered at the beginning of 21.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How has it been working with Megan? I love Megan. I
love Megan as
Megan
well.
is like one of my favorite casting directors because she's so strict.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I like the strictness, and because I'm like, I feel the reason why I like it is because I think there's so many actors that are not showing up the way that they need to, and I'm like, you're gonna know, like Megan is gonna let you know if you're not showing up, and then get these actors like light a fire under their ass.
Yeah, for sure. I need you to come in, and I need you to be prepared, and I need you to hit your mark, and I need you to be open and malleable to playing, and respectful of the situation of actor and casting director, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our time. I come in prepared. I expect the same thing of an actor. But Megan's amazing. Her reputation preceded her. I knew who she was even before I moved to Atlanta. And in a lot of ways, I tracked her down. I'm really fortunate about that. She's a fantastic casting director. She's one of the best.
Yeah.
She's one of the best casting directors I've ever worked with. And I have worked with the best.
Yeah.
I think that she's really great at taking calculated risks. right? So if a role's written a certain way, it's like, well, it doesn't have to be, a white guy in his 40s. What about this Asian woman who we know who's like in her 60s? That could be really interesting, right? So that wild card aspect. And that's something that I had always appreciated in casting, but I always see like that's always really interesting. And a lot of times it works out. And so being confident in that risk taking.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I never thought of casting directors taking
absolutely.
risks the way, you always think about it for an actor.
For
Like
sure.
people take risks.
Yeah.
But I've never thought about it on a casting
just think
side.
out of the box.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Think about it. Essentially what we're casting is energies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the package might not have to look a certain way. It just has to feel a certain way.
Yeah. So is that when you say that calculated risk, so you don't do that on a lot of roles?
Well, it's like, we're seeing several people for a role. And so, maybe one of the 5 people who we're seeing will be that, like, well, let's see if that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's those stories that actors, like I walked in and, everyone looked the same. I was the only one. So I thought I'm definitely not getting it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's normally a good sign.
Maybe that's the thing that's a little different.
Yeah.
That's also something that I've realized even in an audition room, that there might be something like a choice that I was like, I don't really know if I like that choice. But when I watch it back, it was the one performance that was different from everybody else's performance.
Yeah.
And that is the interesting performance.
Right.
So, yeah.
You talked about you're really kind of casting energies, which I find interesting. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
For sure. I just, character description might be a curmudgeon, right? And so what is that kind of energy? That's probably like a heavier, grounded, sort of insular energy.
Yeah.
So, I might bring in, actors who curmudgeon is an interesting choice because now I'd be like, I'll bring in that grumpy actor.
Yeah.
I'll bring in that grumpy actor.
Then he's listening and he's like, what the hell?
The grumpy actor. But then, maybe I'll bring in, an actor who has a much lighter sort of disposition and see what they can do with that.
Right.
Because the opposite might create something really interesting to watch.
Right.
So
I think the energy aspect of it is just really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of actors in their preparation think about what's the energy of this character? What energy am I bringing to this audition?
For
so
sure.
I find that
being
cool.
in tune, I think an actor being in tune with their personal sort of what they bring into spaces can probably then filter into what they bring to a certain character. But yeah, a lot of it is just, molding an energy, right?
Yeah. How do you think that's affected now? That when was the last time you guys did it in person?
Well, we were working on a pilot last month, and that was the first time that we had been back in a room with actors, and that was really fantastic.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Really, really amazing.
Is it the same place that you guys have?
We got Megan sold that place in October of 20.
Got it,
so we're just a studio rental.
Yeah.
But it's so great just to be back in the room with actors. There's just more that you can feel, work with.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is
Read,
how do you, when you talk about the energy, how much is that affected not being in the room?
Well, we're doing auditions through a Zoom or through breakdowns, and there is some distance to that. And so we're all like talking through screens to one another. So the tangible elements of casting in person are muddled a bit. We're all doing our best with that. We're so happy when actors want to come into our live Zoom sessions. We think that that's actually probably helped a lot of our work on Found over the last year. Having that direct one-on-one with a lot of those actors that we've cast.
And you guys have given the option, self-tape or come Zoom?
Yeah.
And so how many are a lot of people skipping the Zoom?
We'll always have we can have 15 to 20 people in a Zoom session. I feel like it's a fair amount who are choosing to do Zoom. Do I wish that there were more? Yes, we will make time for you. Because we do want to see you one-on-one. This market has long relied on the self-tape.
Yeah.
I don't like the self-tape. Megan doesn't like the self-tape.
Yeah.
Because it's, you just don't know what you're going to get as a casting director. I can go into a session and know immediately who I'm sending on to our director to review after that session. But with self-tapes, it's, okay, now I'm not sure I don't know what I'm going to immediately get from this group that I've scheduled. I have confidence that there'll be someone in there, but, it's a hope and a prayer that someone that they've done their homework, watched the show, know what the tone is, and, are able to put together a great tape.
So it sounds like we're probably not going to give too much advice when it comes to, if an actor is doing a self-tape. It sounds like just go get in the room however
for sure.
you can.
But there's advice there too.
Okay.
And we'll just break it down real quick.
Yeah.
We're 4 years into this, right? It's about close to 4 years to when everything came back up online after quarantine.
Yeah. I mean, and we were self-taping, at least the Southeast was, long before.
For sure. Yeah. I don't want to be spending part of my audition time with you as a cinematographer, telling you that you need a blank wall behind you, that your camera is looking up your nose or looking down on you too much. Those things are such simple fixes, and it's not that hard to find a blank wall in your home. And for the young ones, please don't be sitting at your desk in your gaming chair with your little headset on. We don't need to see that.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's really, really simple. Just good lighting. It doesn't have to be professional. If you can be next to a window, that's probably going to be in daylight. That's probably going to be your best bet, with a blank wall behind you. I don't want to see your kitchen or your living room or, your roommate walking.
And you guys are still getting a lot of tapes like that?
Yeah, it's just especially when we're on a live Zoom, and it's just, I feel like most people have smartphones now, right? That's not, your smartphone works great. Those cameras are so lovely now. This is not hard to piece together.
Yeah.
This is not hard to piece together. If you just take 5 minutes and say, where's a blank wall in my home? Where do I have good lighting in my home? And let me make sure that I can prop my phone up on something and then, get going.
Yeah. It's funny. Whenever I do a Zoom callback, big picture casting, shout out to Rita, Jen, Kimberly, but we were talking about you earlier, Rita.
Yeah. Hey, Rita.
But they bring you into the Zoom and you can see everyone in the waiting room. Yeah. And I will be like, what in the hell are these actors doing? People are out on the lawn.
People so you can actually see everything. Oh, that's interesting.
So how they'll do it is, there's a waiting room, so they can be like, no, you need to go. They get everyone ready, and then they go into the room like an audition room.
Yeah.
And so if you're an actor, you can see the other actors in the waiting room.
I don't think that we knew that. I don't think that we've done anything like that. I know that people can see like the names in the waiting room,
Yeah, I can.
but
I'll
like
teach you how to do it if you guys want to.
Yeah.
And then it kind
it's
of like
probably
sets
like a
you up.
breakout. It's probably a breakout room that they then use. Yeah.
So
I
you
don't
bring
think that
everyone
we've
into
used
the
that.
normal Zoom, then you
Yeah.
put everyone into the breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll be in the, getting ready to go in, but I'll see
Yeah.
everyone else. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell are these actors doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm like, good. I'm just going to destroy everyone because like this looks so unprofessional.
Yeah. We just needed to look professional. And it was a lot easier when we could say, come to our office.
Right.
Because all the tapes then look the same.
Right.
With the same reader. It all sounds the same, but I know that we're all doing the best that we can.
We are.
Because it has been a wild roller coaster for the last 4 years. And you and I are here, thankfully, and I'm like lessening my grip on like the things. But yeah, we just need you to just take 5 minutes and get it set up a little better.
It just
because
comes
I don't want to
down
be
to
spending the time doing that in my session.
Yeah, exactly.
I will do that in my session
Because you have to.
Yeah.
Like,
but the thing is that like, I'm angry that I'm doing this, but I'm not going to be angry at you because then that's going to make you upset that like I'm angry. And then what are we doing in the audition?
But it's still though, like, so like, what are you thinking about if I come in to the Zoom, right? And you're like, the camera's looking up his nose. I can see half of a doorway. You're like, can you just, you're telling me like, even like, what do you
thread with you?
Right.
It's possible that you're going to like come alive and that's going to be amazing. Right. But again, we're just trying to get you to put your best foot forward. And the technical stuff are such easy fixes.
Mm-hmm.
So just, look up a YouTube clip. I'm sure that you have a YouTube clip of like, this is how you can set up your, like a little space for your home audition.
Yeah.
So, and again, we're not saying go spend stuff on,
I am. Go invest. I'm saying it.
Just take 5 minutes. That's the time that you need to invest time and figure out the best space for you.
Yep, that's true. One of the biggest things I say with when it comes to like the Zoom audition is try to think like you have to create the casting room essentially, right? So it's like they're gonna have you on the blank wall. They're gonna have you in good lighting.
Yeah.
Like maybe are they going to ask you to like have this is probably more for commercials, but maybe ask you to have a prop, like if you're like drinking in the scene, like be as prepared as you can. Like have the sides there, even if you have them memorized, because they might want to notate them in some way. Like you just want to be prepared. And like you said, that just takes time. You have to be ready for anything that might come up in the audition.
Yeah, exactly.
So going forward to, I guess, moving ahead and talking about self-tapes and Zooms and a little bit of in-person, then where do you think it's going?
I think that if production sort of amps up, that we'll be back in a room with actors more often than not.
Yeah.
As it is, we're working on the second season of Found right now. That's our only project. And our process right now is we've got a great process. But yeah, I would love to see people back in a room. Just, yeah.
Awesome.
That's where I see it going.
Well, all right, good. But I mean that I feel like I feel like that might be an RPM thing. I don't know that we're going back in the room. I just don't think it makes sense because like...
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, does it make sense for me to go back into an office? No. Megan and our associate Morgan and I have that nailed now. Like how we operate from each other's, from our respective homes. Absolutely. But I still... I, as a casting director, need that interaction. I need that interaction to do my best job.
Right.
To do my best work.
I think that's awesome.
And I think actors need that interaction as well to do their best work.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, I mean, there's not going to be a study on it, so it doesn't matter. But I'm like, I wonder about the mental toll that it has taken for actors, you know, because there was something, you know, if I think back to like the last audition that I had with you and Megan, like, you know, I probably knew the other three people in the room, connected with them for a quick second.
Yeah.
You get that adrenaline rush being in the room with you, like I better do a good job.
Yeah.
I leave feeling, all right, I crushed it, or I guess I could have done that better, or whatever. There's all these feelings and emotions that are taking place that like you really don't get anymore, right? Like I go in that other room over there, I do my audition, I edit it, and I send it off. And there's doesn't
that feel like the thrill of acting is a little muted?
Yeah, totally. No,
because of that, because like isn't like the thrill of acting is having an audience
for sure,
and you just don't know what's going to happen.
This is my first interview that I've been like, if I really think about the in-person stuff, there are different elements that are really missed that I wonder if it would make you better as an actor to be feeling them. Probably not. What does it? It does.
Yeah,
it absolutely does.
Yeah.
So the next question is how can you, if we're not back in the room as often, how can we get those feelings again? How can we still experience that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole other probably conversation.
Like, go jump off your balcony before you go into your tape.
There you go. Yeah. Get chased by a dog right beforehand.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Or put yourself in like a moment of like, I've been watching a lot of the Olympics. So just, think about being on a 10-foot platform.
For sure.
And diving in. You might have to like do those mental, those mental tricks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Rebecca, this has really been fantastic. We could continue this conversation, I feel like, for a while, but I do think it brings us to our spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong.
I didn't study these questions.
Oh, so good. All right, here we go. Question number 1 is, what's something you're super grateful for today?
Going in the space of where we are, I'm very grateful for all of our actors in Atlanta. You all make my job such a delight, especially having traveled around from New York to LA to here. You all make my job worth it.
That's
so thank
awesome.
you.
I feel like that's a pretty strong compliment.
Nice.
The next question is, what is a film, TV show, or book, event, something that changed the trajectory of your life?
So when I was really little, probably too little to like be watching it, my favorite movie was A Chorus Line.
Okay.
And the movie is based off the musical, which was the longest running musical for a long, long time. It actually started at the Public Theater to bring that back full circle.
Nice.
Loving that story. Do you know what A Chorus Line?
I don't know the
Chorus Line is an entire musical about an audition.
Oh.
So having watched that movie since I was like 7 or 8, and then living that, it's really, I would say that probably has influenced me in ways that are immeasurable.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's so interesting, right? Because you'd think like maybe at that time in like a child's life, you're like, nah, this movie isn't really meaning anything, but then you look, it's like, I don't know, did it like mean everything?
I mean, I can remember I worked with Tara Rubin for about 4.5 years in New York, and she does a lot of musicals. And I can remember sitting in the final callbacks for the original Broadway company of Mary Poppins, and this is one of my favorite just moments. Cameron McIntosh was producing it. Cameron McIntosh turned to someone and said, "Can't we just see everyone do it?" And so the entire dance callback, it was the last day of auditions were the final callbacks for the ensemble. So you see all of these dancers, everyone get on stage, just like in a chorus line. And they did Step in Time, which is the dance of all the chimney sweeps. And it was fascinating to watch because you could see these images and certain performers sort of popped out in this kind of magical way, and those people ended up being cast.
Oh wow!
Just their physical types or whatever. But yeah, I would say that musical just I didn't realize how what the movie missed of the musical until it was revived on Broadway, and I had never seen a Broadway production of it or a live production of A Chorus Line, and I had this like swell of emotion.
I was gonna say you must have been so amped
at the end of it. And the other wild thing is that in that revival, I had a lot of college classmates who were in that production. So yeah, I would say A Chorus Line probably is a big pivotal sort of piece that has influenced me a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
What's something in your daily routine that you really cherish?
My dog Dot.
Yes.
She used to be in the office. She was our office greeter.
Yeah.
She knows the actors who give the best pets.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm appreciative of her. She keeps me on schedule.
I feel like dogs are special. I feel like a lot of guests have dogs.
Yeah.
And the dogs seem to come up.
Yeah. Dot like will walk down the hallway and just kind of peer into the front room where I have my computer and everything and check in on me.
Yeah.
She's like, you okay? I'm like, I'm okay, Dot. She's like, I'm gonna go to the bed now. So
I'm gonna go to the bed now.
But then like it hits 4:30 and she's like, it's time to go out back and play. And I'm like, I have to finish this. And she's like, it's 4:30.
She said, no, it's 4:30.
We've got to go play. Yeah.
I feel like that's an important part of balance though, right?
Definitely.
Like, so how often are you like, no, I got to finish this. And then you go, oh wait, no, I need to go out in the
Sometimes we
back.
schedule auditions from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I know that that's breaking into
Dad's got to be pissed.
our scheduled time. So I close the door usually. And then she knows.
Yeah.
We'll go play after the audition session.
That's like, what the hell?
Yeah. She's like, these actors.
And I'm not getting pet.
And I'm not getting pets.
Yeah. At least, you know, back in the day.
I know. I can remember one time in the office, pre-pandemic, we had a lot of people in the waiting room. It was just one of those days. And I opened the door and Dot was just like sitting there. Just like,
At the door?
There's a lot of people here. And I was like, why don't you just put yourself in your crate? And the door to her crate was closed. And I went, oh, I'll just open it up and she'll go crate herself. But yeah, she loved it. She's very much a people person.
She was, I'm trying to remember if I remember Dot. She's small.
Yeah.
Right?
She's small. She has one ear that goes down and one ear that goes up. She's super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like a bow in her hair?
No.
No?
No.
All right.
She's not really a bow kind of a gal.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I love it.
Yeah.
Next question is, what's something you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
Oh my gosh, what am I not trying to improve?
Well, you can't improve everything.
Oh my God, I know, but I try to, and then I just end up burnt out.
Yeah, you gotta focus on one thing. That's why you're here, Rebecca, right now,
Yeah.
so we can focus it in.
We're gonna focus it. Probably just staying organized, but not even just like staying organized. It's more of like, how do I operate in this space? Right? How do I move through my space? And what is going to be most optimal for me in creating spaces that I can move through easily?
That's so good. I'm with you. I feel like I am working. I'm working on that more than I want.
It's more like internal than it is like, well, let me put this, pile of papers away. It's more like, why do I have this pile of papers? What is it about me that makes this pile of paper exist?
Right.
And how can we not have that pile of paper?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always trying to figure out how I can make my day like more efficient.
Yeah.
Like my day more efficient, me more energized.
More efficient so I can relax.
What does relaxing look like for you?
Relaxing really is probably just sitting on my sofa watching a great movie with my dog, maybe.
You're not doing that?
Yeah, I know. But like if I'm doing that now, I'm like, oh, God, that pile of papers are over there.
You got
pile of papers over there, and I just need to do something.
You got to get the environment situated.
Yeah, exactly. And so if I don't have to worry about the pile of papers, I might be able to enjoy watching that movie.
Okay.
Maybe some more.
You know what I did? Yeah. Maybe this will help you. I made like a laminated paper, and it had like 6 or 7 things on there, but one of them, and it was like, I made it for like the most productive week is like what I called it, right?
Yeah.
But one of the elements on there was, I called it environment enhancement.
Ooh.
And so I was like, once a week, I'm like, either I can like, like put something on the wall that maybe is inspiring, or I got to get rid of that pile of papers, or, I got to do something for the environment. And I haven't been doing it lately, but this is a good reminder, but I don't know, it might help.
Yeah.
Might help. Okay.
Like
Last question.
Yeah.
We've gone over some cool stuff, but maybe it's something we've missed. If you wanted the listeners to walk away with one thing for sure, what would you want them to walk away with?
Oh, listeners. Oh, actors who I love so much. I just want you to put your best foot forward. Right? So like take a deep breath. Look at the sides that we're sending you. Think of a few ways of doing it because you're a trained actor and that's what you're trained to do. And come online or in person. Have a blank wall behind you and good lighting. And all of that preparation should be, leading to a time for us to play. Because that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
We're just storytelling.
I think just show up. It really comes down to like giving yourself the best shot. If you think about an actor that's not prepared, it's just because they like prioritized other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, oh, I'm busy or this or that. And it's like, you didn't set yourself up for success. So, just.
But also, don't beat yourself up. It is just an audition.
Yeah.
Right? It's just an audition. We're here to help you. I'm on your side.
I love it.
Yep.
Rebecca, thanks so much for being here and hanging out with me.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, thank you for watching. If you're still here, I imagine you enjoyed the show, which means you should be leaving us a comment and a review right now on what your thoughts were and how this show is helping you in your journey. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here.